If you guys want to start your career in data industry, then this video is for you. Over the past couple of months, I have been uploading a lot of videos around how to become a data analyst and how do you launch your career as a data analyst. And then suddenly I got a very alarming message from one of my subscribers that, hey Sahil, I have started learning machine learning because I want to become a data analyst. So that person was a complete beginner, and then I realized that something is wrong. A lot of you want to start your career into data industry, but you don't even know the difference between the main three profiles in the data. Sometimes a lot of candidates think that there's some sort of hierarchy involved in these three profiles. For example, you start your journey as a data analyst, then you get promotion, you become a data engineer, and then a data scientist. And if you are one of them, if you don't know anything about data profiles, then this video is for you. And in today's video, we are going to talk about what is the exact difference between these three profiles: data analyst versus data engineer versus data scientist. And at the end, we are also going to talk about, as a fresher or as someone who is just starting your career, which profile is best for you. Hey everyone, I'm Sahil Gugna and I'm a data and AI engineer at one of the top banks in Canada. Being in the industry for long, I completely understand what is the point of confusion for all of the students when it comes to data profiles. The primary reason is there's a lot of intersection between the skill set requirement among these profiles, which often create a confusion among the candidates. So data flow has primarily four stages. The first one being data collection and storage. The second one, data cleaning and transformation. Third is data exploration and aggregation. And fourth one is predictive analysis. So let's try to understand the very first stage, which is data collection and storage. And you guys might already know that if you want to do some sort of data analysis or anything related to data, the very first thing is that you need data. So for this particular stage, we have data engineers who create the scalable data pipelines, which are responsible for collecting the data from a source and then making it available at the destination. And this destination, it could be a data warehouse, a database, or any of the storage. And since we are talking about the flow of very huge, very large data sets, it's getting a bit complex, right? So let's try to understand what exactly is distributed computing, but as a kid. Now just try to imagine that you want to water your garden and you have just one container which can be used to water your grass. And if you alone start watering the garden, then it will take you a very long time and you might not even able to do the whole task. And on contrary, imagine that now you call 10 of your friends with their own containers and everyone is helping you to water that garden. Now the same task, it can be done efficiently, it will be faster, and you'll be sure that this task will be completed. And now let's try to understand the same thing in the world of data. Let's imagine that you have a very huge data set that you want to process, right? And if you have a very small machine, it won't be practically possible for you to process that data. So then comes the part where that data is being distributed and the processing task is assigned to different machines. And this is how exactly data processing frameworks in data engineering works. So now imagine that the level of complexity of data is so much that you'll need a specialized profile to take care of these kinds of problems, right? So this is what exactly data engineers will do. They need to know the big data frameworks, which basically works on the principles of distributed computing, and they're able to process terabytes and petabytes of data. So in short, as a data engineer, your task and responsibilities will be to make the data available for the end users. And those end users, they could be your data analyst or they could be a data scientist. And if I talk about the skill set requirement, then you will definitely need to know one of the languages, Python or Scala. Then you'll need to know big data processing frameworks, for example, Hadoop, Apache Spark. And then you'll need to know the data warehousing concepts. And then you'll also need to know something about data orchestration. Basically, when you are creating the data pipelines, you'll also need to schedule those data pipelines so that the data is being processed and made available at the regular intervals to end users. And if you guys want a detailed roadmap on how to become a data engineer, comment down and I will create a separate video for this. And guys, if you're learning something new from this video, make sure to like the video and subscribe the channel, because this way it helped me to understand that my videos are reaching to the right audience. And now let's get back to video. So after collecting and storing data, now is the time when you'll need to draw the right insights from data. You'll need to analyze the data. You'll need to get the right value out of the data. And for the step 2 and step 3, we will need data analysts to do that work. So step 2 and 3 were data cleaning and data transformation, and then the data exploration. So as a data analyst, you will be responsible to clean the data, to understand what exactly is lying inside the data and how you can answer important business questions using the data. And now, depending upon the company, sometimes data engineers are also responsible for cleaning the data, but mostly it's the data analyst who do that work. So as a data analyst, you will be responsible to get the right value out of that data. So imagine that as a data analyst, your manager will come to you and will simply ask you, hey Sahil, why is our company's revenue dropping day by day, or and which of the products are performing really well so that we can increase their stock, right? So when it comes to answering these kinds of questions, data analysts will be responsible. They will connect to the right data, they will do some sort of transformations, they'll try to do exploratory data analysis, and they will come up with the right information. Once they completely understand that how we can exactly solve the problem using the data, they will need to create the data visualizations. So once they have created data visualizations, they will be required to present those reports, those charts, those dashboards to the business team. Now this business team, it could be the internal business team or maybe your external client, and you will be the one who will be, presenting all that information to the stakeholders. So that's why data analysis is not only about knowing the tools and technologies, it's also a profile that demands you to be an exceptional speaker, or maybe someone who is really, really good at communication, because at the end, guys, you will not only be creating those charts, but you will be telling everyone that what kind of trends, what kind of patterns you have found in the data. So if we talk about the technical skills required for this profile, they are very less. You simply need to know a Microsoft Excel, then one of the SQL databases, then one of the visualization tool. It could be Power BI, it could be Looker Studio, it could be Tableau, and then Python. And in Python, you'll need to know Pandas, NumPy, these two main libraries, and for visualization, Matplotlib and Sevan. That's it, guys. This is the only skills required to become a data analyst. But the main catch is you'll need to do very good projects. You'll need to do a lot of practice about your communication skills, about your presentation skills, so that once you are out there with the business team, you are able to make the impression. And this is where most of the candidates, they lack. And I've already created a lot of videos around this profile, so I suggest you to watch all of those videos. And I'll also make sure to leave all the links in the description below. And now the last stage is the predictive analysis. So imagine that data analysts, they have already given you that these are the insights and this is how the trends are there for XYZ product, or maybe how the revenue is performing, or anything, right? So now you know what kind of trends you have in the past. But now the requirement is to predict what could happen in the future. And if we have to simply explain it, imagine that data analysts, they found a trend that XYZ product is performing really well in 2 or 3 months, right? And for the next answer, that the company would like to know what kind of products would perform well in the next season, or maybe in the next quarter, or maybe in the next holiday season, right? So in that scenario, we will need some sort of predictive models, some sort of machine learning models, which can help us to answer all those kinds of questions. And these kinds of tasks, they are mainly handled by the data scientists. And now you guys might also be confused that Sahil, there's a profile called data scientist, there's a profile called machine learning engineer, deep learning engineer, NLP engineer, computer vision, a lot of things, right? So now data science is an umbrella. Try to imagine the software engineering, right? So a lot of you might already know what software engineers do. A software engineer could be someone who is doing front end. They could be someone who is doing back end. They could be someone who is developing the mobile applications. Now you see that the software engineering is an umbrella and all those profiles are under software engineering. Similar is the case with data science. You have folks who are specialized in natural language processing, maybe deep learning, maybe computer vision, and these days the generative AI engineers as well. So as a data scientist, your main responsibility will be to create machine learning models to identify trends and patterns, which will eventually help the business to take the critical business decisions. And I think this is one of the most complex profile when it comes to the data profiles, and the learning curve of this profile is greater as compared to the other profiles. And if we talk about the tools and technologies that you will be required if you want to become a data scientist, the first one being the mathematics and statistics, then all the things that you'll need to become a data analyst, which include Microsoft Excel, SQL database, Power BI, or any visualization tool. Then you'll need to be very good with Python. Then you'll need to know machine learning, ML ops, and if you want to do some sort of specialization, then the required skills for that as well. That's why you might have seen that in all of the big companies, mostly the candidates who are into data science, they're the master's degree holder or the PhD holders, just because of the level of complexity for this profile. But it doesn't mean that the freshers, they are not hired. It all depends upon your skills. So if you are able to do very, very good projects, there are a lot of companies which can hire you as a data scientist even if you're a fresher. And since the complexity of this profile is greater as compared to the other profiles, so that's why data scientists, they are paid more than the other two profiles as well. So now you guys might be able to understand that there is no level of hierarchy, right? So data analysts, they have their own tasks, data engineers, they have their own tasks, and data scientists, they have their own roles and responsibilities. When it comes to choosing the profile, you'll need to consider a couple of factors. Firstly, how much are you willing to learn, right? If you are willing to learn the less number of technologies, then you should definitely look for someone who could be data analyst. And I'm not saying that you don't want to learn a lot of technologies, but it could be a bit overwhelming for you to just at the beginning learn a lot of technologies, right? So in that case, pick a profile which has the least learning curve for you, right? And then maybe eventually you move to some other profiles. Again, there's no level of hierarchy. You won't get a promotion to become a data engineer or data scientist if you join as a data analyst, but you will be working very closely with the data engineers and the data scientists. And if you're paying close attention, you can also learn the skill set which is required to become either one of them, right? And in future, if you want to switch your profile within the team, it will be very easy for you because you'll already know the dynamics of the team, and you can simply utilize your existing domain knowledge in order to switch to the other profile. So guys, that's it for today's video. I hope at least now you would be able to answer someone if someone asks you what is the difference between these two profiles, and now you would be able to choose the right profile for yourself as well. Make sure to let me know in the comment section below what were your main doubts, and was I able to clear your doubts in this video? If not, let me know that what kind of more information you would require in order to understand about these profiles. And if you have any ideas for the future videos, make sure to drop them down in the comment section. Thanks a lot for watching the video, and I'll see you in the next video.